Welcome to our QPR Preview Show ahead of the trip north to face second place Middlesbrough. And for the second time in a fortnight, QPR head into the third game of a three-game week on the back of two wins, thanks to a sensational finish to the game with Birmingham. Kieran Morgan's 96th minute winner into the bottom corner caused carnage at Loftus Road. What a moment, Dave. And I suspect with you sitting right behind the goal as the ball came towards you, you're now probably covered in bumps and bruises, but was it worth it?
Oh God, it was worth it. Yeah, my shins are cut to pieces. I've got bruises everywhere. We were right behind the shot as it went in. It was just an unbelievable moment. You go to games and sometimes you leave grounds and you think, why did I bother with that? When you lose or it's a boring game. But nights like that make it worth it. That moment was just incredible, and it was a deserved win as well. I thought we played really well last night, and I think I'd be saying that even if we hadn't got the winner, if we'd drawn 1-1. I just was really impressed with us against a good side. But that moment, I think I've watched the video about 500 times today. I imagine most people have. Um, yeah, it was just an amazing moment, wasn't it? Up with the last time we played Birmingham at home with the Jimmy Dunn moment in the last minute. There's so many over the years, but it was just brilliant.
Yeah, we do seem to love a sensational last minute winner against Birmingham. And out of nowhere, it just became one of those nights to remember for sure. You're right about the moment when it went in the raw. I know it wasn't a playoff match, but it actually felt like one of those
Yeah.
moments. It reminded me of like when Furlong scored or Austin. It genuinely had that aura about it. I think just because of the circumstances, was with us all thinking we'd let the point slip. The result as well, it ticked some boxes for sure because we obviously had the top six staring us in the face, and we were facing a Birmingham side terrible away from home. So it was refreshing to see us for once take advantage of those opportunities when they came to us. It looked like Mbenge going off for Kieran Morgan had cost us defensively because Mbenge was superb, had Damari Gray in his pocket all night. And then Gray gets away from Kieran Morgan to set up the Birmingham goal, only for Morgan to then score the winner. It was some finale to the match. How did you feel though in the 3 minutes when it looked like we had blown it?
Yeah, I mean, it was devastating, wasn't it? And from where I was sat, you could see Roberts at the far post in space. It's like, oh, if they get the ball over to him, he's going to score. And like you said, all night, and Bengay just kept Gray in his pocket. He weren't getting the ball in, but we just switched off for that second. And fair play to him, it was a good ball in. And yeah, it was devastating. And I just thought we were so unlucky at that stage because we'd had chances to kill them off. I think Birmingham probably had a lot more of the ball, but I always felt we were in control of the game. Our pressing was really good. It's just that you won't go through the whole team. You couldn't really fault anyone. Everyone makes mistakes in games and that. No one was perfect last night, but it was just a really hard work and a really good performance. And yeah, I was gutted when that went in, and then it just made that last moment even sweeter, didn't it? It was, I haven't got over it yet.
Yeah, it did. It just created a moment. I think we're going to be looking back on it as one of the highlights of the season, I imagine, by
Yeah.
the end of it. I felt we were good value for the 3 points. I agree with you. You could see Julien Stephan, even his reaction to their goal, how disappointed he was because he knew it was going to be 2 points dropped when they equalised. Could almost see steam coming out of his ears. So it was from one extreme to the other with the emotions, a moment of despair to a moment. We're going, like I said, we're going to look on back on and think. I think it was a big turning point. I think it says a lot about the mentality of the players to go again because it would have been easy for them to just kick the ball out, have a throw in or something, and then the final whistle go. But they went again, and that was really good to see. I agree. Like you say, you played well in the game. Birmingham's XG was verging on zero for most of the 90 minutes until their late chance and goal, and they didn't really offer much. I found them quite boring, actually, passing it around in neutral areas of the pitch. And I think some of it came from QPR having a nice shape. We looked solid. And dare I say, Dave, because of that, we do look a bit of a well-drilled side at the moment, don't we?
We do. We're playing really well in a minute. Since we've come back from the international break, we look a different side, to be honest. Like you say, look very well drilled. I think Burrell's been getting all the headlines. He's been playing really well, but Kone's done well since he come back in. Madsen stepped up again. I thought he had a couple of iffy games, but now he's kind of back to his good form from earlier in the season. You know, they just look very well organised, and I thought the press in both the last two games from the front really caused problems because both West Brom and Birmingham were trying to play out and try and play little triangles in their own box, and we were not letting them get out, and they couldn't get out. And we probably should we scored from the weekend from that, and we probably should have scored from it last night as well. And that all comes from coaching. That all comes from the manager and his staff. That they've got this team very well drilled at the minute, and it's really good to see.
It definitely is. You're right. It was the same for large spells against West Brom on Saturday too. The players just knowing what to do, when to do it, when to press, when to hold, when to go forward in numbers, and long may it continue because it is really good to watch. Actually, I think it's also helped having a more balanced side. We've seen less changes in the last few games, like we all hoped for. We were talking about it in the shows last month, but it's a three-game week again. I touched on it at the start that the last two have ended in defeat, but Derby away, Norwich away, they proved to be a struggle at the end of the three-game week. Is the hope this week, Dave, that with us having two home games, having played on Tuesday, it's going to be less of an issue this time?
It should be. There's obviously hasn't been the travelling that we've had in those other ones. You've got the extra day rest in between the games, so I don't think it will be as bad. I mean, both the two games you mentioned, I thought they were just really poor performances, and we're quite capable of serving something up like that. We do seem to do that from time to time. But you just feel hopefully this week's going to be different. Whatever the result of the weekend, you just kind of want to see a continuation of this performance. If they play like that, and if Middlesbrough are better than us and win, good luck to them. Or if we draw, but I just kind of want to see a good performance at the end of this week because we can't we can't keep saying, oh, we can't play on the Saturday after a 3-game week. Everyone else has to do it. We kind of got to get over that little hurdle.
Yeah, definitely. I don't think this week it can be an excuse, the tiredness and stuff. It's a much more doable turnaround for us. Again, we should be travelling to Middlesbrough with confidence and freedom, and let's see what we can do. A bit like the Norwich match, it feels like it's a free hit because we've got two wins, especially given Middlesbrough's form, where they are in the table. But free hit or not, we can't perform like we did against Norwich. It'll be interesting, though, to see how we approach the game, as we'll come back to shortly. Just wanted to mention as well, Koki Saito's cross for the first goal. We've not mentioned it. That was unbelievable. One of the best crosses I think again we'll see all season because he was on the run. That is not easy to hit it in like that. And wanted to add as well that QPR now on 31 points. We didn't pass the 30-point mark 2 seasons ago until mid-February when we beat Bristol City. So you can see the big, big improvement regardless of what happens at Middlesbrough. Away from the league for a moment, got to mention the FA Cup third round draw. What are your thoughts on West Ham away, Dave?
Oh, it's an exciting draw. I mean, so often we get the FA Cup draw comes out and we get someone in our own division. It's like, oh God, we've played them already. But, a Premier League team in London, a new ground for the majority of us, I would have thought, kind of West Ham. Personally, I wanted West Ham away, Tottenham away, or Everton away just for a new ground. And I'm really pleased with it. We should take a big crowd there. I mean, West Ham are better than us, so even though they're struggling in the Premier League, it'd be a difficult game for us, but it's not an impossible game. And I just hope we go with our full strength side. Don't go and do what we've done in the cup the last couple of games and put the development players in and hope for the best. This is a real opportunity to go and do something, and the club talk a lot about the model is to try and develop players and sell them on. This is a massive shop window to go and play a Premier League team and go and get our first team players show how good they are. And yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. I hope we take like 9, 10,000 there. I think it'd be brilliant.
Yeah, I think whatever allocation they give us, we're going to sell it, judging by the initial reaction to the draw. They're actually the team we've played in the FA Cup the most over the years, but we haven't played them obviously for like 30 years in the FA Cup, but it's an odd one that. But I think everyone's excited for it. Maybe we'd have a better chance at home. I don't know, but we'll see how it suits us. Obviously, we're used to having less of the ball, as we discussed most weeks. We can hurt teams on the break. That match is highly likely to follow that pattern. So there is some hope there, despite uh, them being a Premier League side, obviously, but they're going to make changes. And I totally agree. Please hope we take it serious. There's a week off before, a week off after. Let's think it can give all QPR fans another memorable afternoon. Middlesbrough this Saturday, though, and QPR have lost the last three against them, conceding 8 goals. But from 2020 to 2023, we won 4 out of 5 trips to the Riverside. When it comes to Middlesbrough, we have to start with Rob Edwards. A touch of the McBeals about it. He arrives in June, has the club higher than many expected, but then leaves in November. What was he thinking, though, Dave, going to Wolves?
Yeah, I mean, I think you're right with the Mick Beale scenario. Is you saw it as well with Nathan Jones when it at Luton a couple of years ago, jump into the Premier League. It obviously everyone wants to play and manage in the Premier League, so you kind of get his ambition. But considering where he's been the last few years, relegated with Luton from the Premier League, and they went down again last year, and he was sacked. You'd think he'd kind of want to settle down and have a good season with Middlesbrough and then make the jump. You kind of get it, that you want to make the jump up, but I don't think that's a good job for him. And there's been a lot made that he's obviously he played for Wolves and he's a Wolves fan and his family lived there. It reminds me a little bit of Gareth Ainsworth and us. That he was always desperate for the QPR job. He took it at the worst possible time and it went bad for him. And you think with Rob Edwards, this doesn't look a good time to be the Wolves manager. They are shocking at the minute, and how long will he last there? If they don't win a game soon. So yeah, I think it's a bad move by him, but and it's not great for Middlesbrough. They've backed him. They brought him in from the cold. They've given him an opportunity, and he's kind of dumped on them at the first opportunity.
Yeah, I can't imagine he'll be too popular on Teesside anytime
No.
soon. But I agree. I know he's got ties with Wolves and such like, but it's a good comparison with Gareth Ainsworth. But it's the same with Mick Beale and other managers. If you're that good, you're going to get the opportunity at some point. Anyway, you don't need to go so soon, especially when Wolves, they're now sat with 2 points from 13 games,
Yeah.
lost every game since he took over. They're basically down given the deficit they already have. And Middlesbrough fans are now going to be just hoping that they trade places. His replacement at Boro, Kim Hellberg, there's a QPR link there, as he was Marty Cifuentes' replacement at Hammarby. So they certainly have a good track record of picking managers in Sweden. But unlike Marty, Hellberg has only managed in Sweden before. There's no doubting, though, he's hit the ground running in England, hasn't he?
Yeah, they started really well with him. I always think when this kind of thing happens, like it did with us and Mick Beale, how the club reacts, it says a lot about how well run they are. And you saw how we were at the time. We panicked and made a big deal of it. Middlesbrough seemed to have, they took their time. They took a week or so to sort out what they wanted. And, you know, from what we've seen so far, he looks like they've got a good manager in. He's got a decent pedigree. And, they look at, they're getting results. He's got those wins early. And, that you maybe thought that when Rob Edwards left, they would possibly fall away, especially how open this league is this year. Everyone's moving around. But, they've maintained, their good form and, he looks a promising manager for him.
Yeah, he was interviewed, sorry, by Swansea as well, apparently. So he was attracting interest, and it couldn't have gone better for him at the start. 3 wins from 3 games. He's going to be an instant hit with the
Mm.
Middlesbrough fans. You're right about them having a little wobble amidst the managerial upheaval. They had a 1 win in 6 at that point, but they're over that now coming into this game, and they've started the last 2 games on fire. 4-0 up at half time last week against Hull. 2-0 up against Middlesbrough in midweek. Against Charlton in midweek. So they'll be confident, if not more confident than QPR. They don't concede many, but no clean sheet in the last 9 games. So there's some hope there, maybe for QPR. And I mentioned about trading places with Wolves earlier. Do you think they can take advantage of this open championship? Do you like the look of them?
Yeah, I mean they've got an opportunity there. The league's very wide open. We've said it before, and you look at the relegated sides. They usually have the parachute payments and they run away with things, but they haven't this year. I do think the likes of Ipswich and Southampton they're going to get stronger as the season goes on, and they will get up amongst it. It'll be difficult for Middlesbrough, but they've got as good a chance as anyone. They've got good home form. They score goals. So they're all right at the back as well. Why not? If this is an opportunity for teams this year, you're going to, I mean, Coventry look like they're going to do it. You're going to get a new team going up. Middlesbrough have got a really good chance, at very least, the playoffs.
Yeah, I'd agree. When you look at the team, it's not a surprise they're doing well. The question mark maybe is going to be whether it gets to January, the likes of Hayden Hackney, Aidan Morris, a team's going to come in and look at them and it could disrail them if they leave. But given the foundations they've put in place over the first 20 games, if they aren't at least around that top 2, 3, 4 positions for the rest of the season, it is there for the taking for them. For QPR, the last time in the 3 game week, in the third game, sorry, of a 3 game week, at Norwich, Julien Stephan, he named the same 10 outfield players. Earlier in the season, we'd seen 5 or 6 changes. I wonder if this time it'll be somewhere in the middle. And if we start up front, do you think Coney and Burrell have to start together again?
I hope they do. I think they've done really well the last few games. Kone needs a goal, and he really should have scored that one last night. It was quite an easy. When watching it at the time, I thought he was a bit unlucky, but when you see the replays on TV, he really should have scored. But they're combining well together. I just like to see him carry on, and I know we've had the 2 games already this week, but there's no reason why them two can't go again, and they're forming a good partnership.
Oh yeah, definitely they're working really well together. That's for sure. Especially since Coney got took out for those couple of games. He's like you said earlier,
Mm,
he's come back in. It's probably done him the world of good, made him realize what he's got to do. But I think for this match, whatever minutes the pair of them can do, just let them do them. They
yeah.
defend from the front. It's really helping the whole team. It's kind of integral to how we want to play, I think. Should add as well, Richard Coney is not in the Ivory Coast squad for AFCON, so that's good news for QPR. Out wide, Paul Smith was struggling before he went off last night. Chair won't be back until maybe Leicester, if not later. So who's playing out wide for you?
Yeah, I think Saito will definitely start, probably on the left. And then, yeah, Smith was struggling to work before he went off last night. I thought he had a good game again. But probably be Dembele, I think, on the right. He does seem to like Dembele. He's his kind of go-to to play on the right. So I think Dembele will start. You know, I think he's been better defensively the last couple of games than he was before. You know, sometimes he can just kind of leave that to his fullback. I think he'll start in this one.
Yeah, it's interesting. I think if Smith's okay, he could start, but otherwise, you're right. It's going to be Dembele and Saito with Poku off the bench. There's less options actually than we normally have out wide.
Yeah.
Behind them in midfield, Nicholas Madsen, Jonathan Ran, they look shoo-ins at the moment, don't they? But against Norwich, they both struggled because it was the third game in the week.
Mm.
They've both done a lot of running again. Will that be in Julien Stephan's mind?
I think it might be now. I think that might be where he makes another change. I think possibly Hayden coming in for Varane. I think Varane's done well the last couple of games. Thought he started both those the last two games quite slowly, but got better and better as the game went on. And he's kind of looking back to his old self again. But I do think that's where he might freshen up a little bit in midfield. You know, that like you say, that Norwich game, we were really cut apart there in that game and looked tired and quite weak in there. So I think that'll be where the change happens in there.
Yeah, I'd agree. I think that's where the lessons should be learnt from Norwich. Change at least one of them. They can still come in and do some minutes off the bench, can't they? But I think we need that bit of solidity for this opponent, and I think Isaac Hayden will come in for that. In defence, Jake Clark-Salter, he hasn't done the long away trips yet. Does he come in here for you or wait for Leicester next week? And what about Norrington Davis as well? Because 3 game weeks, he's not been playing all the games. So there's two big question marks at the back, isn't there?
Yeah, I'm not sure about Clark-Salter. I don't think he'll play in this one. Sorry, my voice has gone now. Hang on. Still celebrating from last night. No, yeah, I don't think Clark-Salter will make the trip. I think he'll probably be Cook and done against centre halves. Left back's a tricky one because you haven't got Sam Field able to play in this one. So I think he may go with Norton Davis again. You've got a whole week before the next one. He has talked about managing his minutes, but there aren't that many options. I mean, Escudina's an option at left back, but I do fear for him a bit that you're going to throw him in against another one of the top sides like we've done against Ipswich, and it could harm him. So ideally, I'd start Norton Davis because I think he's done really well. But yeah, a bit of a question mark on that one.
Yeah, I think we have to get him to try and play for at least an hour. Escudina starting here would be a big ask, and particularly probably a bit unfair to be honest, because be a bit of nervousness around him when he got the ball, especially from the crowd. I have a feeling as well we're going to wait on Clark Salter. Could be totally wrong, but his recovery wouldn't be helped by getting on a coach or train back from Middlesbrough or
Yeah.
whatever you do. So I wonder if they'll save him for Leicester and stick with Dunn and Cook because they actually had a really solid game against Middlesbrough anyway. Should add as well, our friend Mbenge got him booked for coming on to celebrate. Now on 8 yellows, and the amnesty is 17 games away. So there's a 2 game suspension incoming there, more than likely over Christmas. And finally, do you think Paul Nardi will keep his place with Ben Hamer back available? He was on the bench, but does that mean Nardi's going to keep his place now?
I think so. I think Nardi's done well the last couple of games. He does have moments in the game. He's still with crosses where he terrifies you. You know, there was one last night where he punched in. It was like just catch the ball. It was a really simple catch, but he did make one really good save at 1-0 from a corner, and I thought he played really well against West Brom. So I would imagine he'll start this one, and you know, credit to him. You know, he must have been devastated when he was dropped, and he looked kind of done at the club a couple of weeks ago. But he's come back in the side through different circumstances, and he's really took his chance well.
Yeah, I think it's going to be Nardi keep his place. I think if Hamer was going to come back in, he would have come straight back in on Tuesday. Once
Yeah,
he's on the bench for that one, kind of sets the precedent that he's more likely going to be on the bench. You're right about Paul Nardi. The one he punched when there was literally no one near him, it just creates a little bit of nervousness. But
yeah.
at least I think he's been told try and come. He's trying to come and punch. He punched Jimmy Dunn in the head on one of them as well, didn't he? But at least he's trying to be proactive, like I say. Let us know all your thoughts on the lineup in the comments. Certainly not easy to pick for this one. And predictions, Dave. Can we inflict the first defeat on Kim Hellberg as Middlesbrough manager?
We're quite capable of, like you said, we've not got a terrible record up there, but I just think this will be a really tough one for me. Like I said before, I want to see a good performance. That's kind of what I'm looking for in this one. If we can get ourselves a draw, it'd be great. But I just think they'll be slightly too strong for us. Maybe beat us 2-1, something like that. You know. But overall, if that does happen, it's been a good week still for us.
Yeah, as like I said, the pressure is probably off us, so that's a good thing. They've only lost once at home, though that was to Coventry, so there's no
Yeah.
doubting this is a tough ask for QPR. It's going to be another indicator, though, isn't it, of where we are as a side and how much we can look up the table. I think it could suit us the match, big pitch. They like possession, so we could be able to counter. But even when we have this confidence, these 3 game weeks they have been our Achilles heel, and I'm worried if they score first, it could be 2-0 quickly in one of those typical QPR afternoons. I do believe we can win if we turn up and play, but like you say, it comes down to the performance level, doesn't it? Just after years of following QPR, we're all just waiting for the next implosion. Maybe it won't come on Saturday. Hopefully it won't. And overall, though, I do suspect, like you, that we're going to slip to a narrow defeat, but just hopefully we don't disgrace ourselves. Let us know what you think in the comments. And it's a week off now. Then we return to preview the home match against Leicester. Fingers crossed Marty Cifuentes is still there because it's going to be very interesting to see the reaction and how it goes that game. So I hope he's still in charge by then. That kicks off a big fortnight of action over Christmas. We'll have a preview show for you for every game. So stick with us over the festive period. And let's just hope QPR aren't going to ruin the festivities too much. It's looking like, well, for once, we might actually have something to cheer about. So let's hope it carries on that way. Enjoy the match against Middlesbrough and come on, you Ars.